another Coffee with Kilroy. Halloween edition, yes. So I'll do away with my typical beverage in a book. Here's my beverage, here's my book, and let's get right into the Halloween happenings. If you recall, or if you follow my channel, last year I got a little out of hand with Halloween, covering a lot of Final Girl, the solitaire board game, which is a very, very good solitaire board game. And if you want a good horror experience with all the tropes of some of the movies of our childhood, then that is something to look at. And I've got a couple of the different seasons. Check a look at, it's under Final Girl under the playlist. Take a look at that. This one I'm kind of cutting back, going on a diet and trimming down to just a book here, for at least for my coffee segment. Dawning Horror. This is Adventure for Four Against the Great Old Ones, which I've covered before. I'll put a link to that in the description, as well as you can find all my For Against coverage in the playlist called For Against, which will have not only For Against the Great Old Ones, which again I've covered before, and which this is kind of based on, and this is based on For Against Darkness, which is a dungeon delve. It says right here, a solitaire dungeon delving pen and paper game, which basically you create a random dungeon as you go through and see what happens in each room and take it on. The author, I think, of this does not necessarily consider this an RPG game, a role-playing game. I do. I feel like this is a role-playing experience in a game book, so I put it in my RP book section. If you want an RP experience in a board game, look in my RP board. And if you just want straight old RPG experience, look in my whole role-playing playlist down below, where it's RP fantasy or RP military or RP sci-fi. You know, you can figure it out. Anyway, For Against Darkness is a random dungeon. Some of the other supplements that I've covered in this, and I'll probably cover more, have more set dungeons that you might, or adventures that you might encounter. The Great Old Ones takes a little bit of a different path from that, because it is, number one, it's not necessarily a dungeon, it's Cthulhu, it's Lovecraft. As it says right here, the pen and paper solo and cooperative game of Lovecraftian horror. So, you know, you're going on an adventure, basically an investigation. So your characters here are called investigators, and you're going to preset points in this book. And different things happen at those locations. Random events can happen, random encounters can happen. So there is definitely replayability and randomness that happens with it, but it's not like you're creating a world from scratch just by rolling up the dungeon rooms. You kind of have a preset adventure that is playable over and over again, and you can ramp it up in difficulty. And of course, you level up and get all the goodies that you need to fight all the Lovecraftian horrors. That's the thing about Lovecraft or Cthulhu as well. There's not only the physical damage that you're going to have to face, but there's also the mental, madness and going insane, because these otherworldly creatures, just by the mere sight of them, can drive you insane, because you've never seen anything like it before. So that's captured in this For Against the Great Old Ones as well, and then is carried on in this Dawning Horror, as we see here. Heroes are not born, they are forged in madness. Dawning Horror is a set of 5 programmed adventures for Against the Great Old Ones. In each adventure, you will control an investigator and 3 helpers who are facing supernatural horrors for the first time, be it in a limestone mine in Indiana, in the cryptic gorges of Kentucky, in the Chicago Museum during an exposition in Antarctica, or in an isolated community in the Ramapo Mountains. Your investigator will find plenty of reasons to doubt their sanity and fear for their life. This expansion includes 2 new playable investigators, the archaeologist and redeemed cultist. That's kind of cool. Dawning Horror also functions as a prequel to For Against the Great Old Ones, since some advantages you may gain can be transported to For Against the Great Old Ones in the form of upgraded investigators. So let me get a sip here. I suggest you get a sip as well if you have a beverage of your choice. And as I make mistakes, turn it into a drinking game. If you're drinking something other than coffee, you might not make it through the whole adventure. That's my challenge to you. So it's written by Marco Nardo, who is had a long time game channel. Started off with War Games, Marco Wargamer, and then turned into Marco Omnigamer, where he covers all kinds of games, and now, writing game books. So there you have it. Keep up the good work, Marco. So here's the table of contents, your premise and setup. As I said, it draws a lot of core mechanics and similar gameplay from For Against Darkness, but again, it has it more into a set program, a situation where you're going to locations or picking your location or following a path of locations. I'm not going to do a page for page, because if you want this or want to find out more about this, you need to buy it, right? This is just an overview to see if it interests you, but I can tell you right now, if you like For Against Darkness and you like Lovecraft and Cthulhu, then I don't know why you don't already have this, but that's just me. Here's that upgrades they were talking about. Here's some of the investigators, how you upgrade them. Here's the new classes. You've got an archaeologist. It's kind of cool, and then a redeemed cultist. So here's your Indiana Jones right there, right? And a redeemed cultist. Let's see how they are redeemed. So the first adventure that has had 5. I think you can follow them in any order you want, but you have the Horror of the Mind. And again, I'm not going to show you all of the stuff, but you can see here this is kind of preset, whereas you roll randomly in the For Against Darkness. Here you're going to be following a path on these, so you're not going to be able to go from 1 to 19. I mean, unless there's something that lets you do that, but otherwise you're going to have to kind of follow these different areas and check out the tables that are in here and see what happens. There's a lot of table rolling and seeing what your counter is, and then fighting or taking on those challenges. It might be a challenge in the room, a trap or something, or a creature, or something that you need to investigate. That's the whole gist of this. So let's not go through these pages because I don't want to spoil it or release anything that you don't want to encounter, because you want to counter it on your own. So you got the Howl of the Mutated. So you got a whole map there. So there's several there's 5 of these in here. So if you want to look into that, here's your Wandering Enemies table for that adventure. Here's that museum we were talking about. So a lot of good playable content in here. And I find these to be generally replayable. At least the ones in For Against, the old ones was replayable and tough. Then we've got inheritance map, and so these are some of the charts based on the day. In the great old ones, there's kind of a time element as well, whereas in the For Against Darkness, you're just kind of going until you either die or you get to a boss. At least that's in the base game. The other ventures might have something else in there. This one, there's kind of a time element as well, on what day, and the encounters might change depending upon the time element as well. I kind of like that. I kind of like how that gets a little bit more immersive in there. The rest of this is those adventure and those paragraphs, which in some respects, this it's not exactly, but it feels a little bit like Choose Your Own Adventure, in that you're picking out places to go and seeing what the encounter is. So although there is some randomness to the encounters, this draws a little bit more inspiration from Choose Your Own Adventure than, let's say, For Against Darkness. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by on this Halloween. What do you have planned for today? All my kids I think I have got one left that will probably go trick-or-treating. My other ones are one's in college and one is getting ready to go. So they've kind of outgrown all that. So I'm feeling nostalgic. So used to read Poe. Edgar Allan Poe to my kids when they were younger. Yeah, I messed them up. And, now they kind of go out and do their own things now. So, and go trick-or-treating with their friends. Anyway, cherish it while you have the chance. Enjoy it. What are you playing tonight? What are you reading tonight? What are you doing, a game book? What are you doing? Let me know in the comments down below. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks for watching.